This installment is from a recent event we did talking to fire victims, helping them understand the real-world implications of losing a property.
Been in finance for about 30 years. My degree's in finance. I've been an owner, builder, and manager of property here in Malibu for over 30 years and a resident for over 32 years. Been CFO of numerous companies, and now I'm a financial advisor with Edward Jones. I'm here to help my friends and neighbors. Now that you know a little bit about myself, I'm going to tell you a story. Once upon a time, I had a house that I just rebuilt. It's a Title 24 remodel, and if you know anything about building, that means you take it down to the studs and do everything kind of from the ground up, less the framework. New drywall, new stucco, new roof, new driveway, new everything, insulation, everything's got to be completely and fully inspected and brought up to code, which is expensive. I had fully permitted this project about 18 months before completion. That took months as it was. I put it up for sale about 6 weeks before the Woolsey fire, and it burned to the ground. I was devastated. It ensued my divorce. I was down there about 10 days after the fire when they'd let me back into Malibu. I had exiled to Santa Barbara, and I just almost collapsed in the middle of the street just looking at the devastation. A dear friend of mine, Tony, caught me and hugged me. He's like, you know what, it's going to be okay. I didn't know how. But, you know, 6 years later, it can come out okay. As I was dealing with insurance companies, adjusters, trying to find people to help me completely redo this house now from the ground up, I was out at the site quite a bit. I ran into another couple who was just walking around on my property. Turns out the only thing that didn't burn on the property was my for sale sign, because I just put it up for sale 6 weeks prior to the fire. As luck would have it, it was another investor like myself and his real estate agent. They'd seen the sign, walked the dirt. I met them. We made friends, and we shook hands, and we cut a deal right there on the spot. We went down to Spruzzo's and had both of our realtors there, and we wrote it up in contract. The deal was that I had to get the debris removed, lot cleared. Couldn't wait for the government, so I had to do that myself at my own expense. And I had to have permits in hand ready for him to break ground. That was the deal to close the escrow. The months that ensued were daunting. I had a divorce attorney on my back. I just had all these plans done. I took them back to the city, immediately just threw them on the counter, said, look, I'm ready to go, I'm prepared. And only to find out they were not prepared. They didn't know what the process was. It took them well over a month or two to figure out how they were going to handle it, and the 500 other owners that had lost their home. But I pushed and I pushed and I pushed. I got my plans resubmitted immediately. I was number 7 out of 500 owners to get permits. When I finally was at the finish line and I received that nice big yellow card, the people at the city said, hey, do you want to be famous? The mayor of the city came out, shook my hand, they took my picture, and I think it made the Malibu Times, believe it or not. But at that point, I had spent over $500,000 between holding costs, getting permitted by the city, all of the external expenses that one would have in just getting permits for a home. You don't think about it. These are, geological tests you have to have done, structural engineering, architects, civil engineering, that cost tens of thousands of dollars outside of the permits that you get to pay the city, the city for. The fire department, whole other can of worms. You've got to have everything approved by them after it's approved by the city. If you miss a loophole, it's going to cost you time and money. It was a job. It was a full-time job. Fortunately, it was my profession at the time, and I could do it. That 6 months just seemed like a very daunting process, but at the end of the day, I had the property cleared, I received the permits, I closed the escrow, and finished the divorce. Only by God's grace did all these things happen. Words of advice that I can give you as a friend, as a neighbor, as a fellow person who's just gone through this mess. Call your lender immediately. See what kind of forbearance they will give you. They will negotiate, but you have to communicate with them. They will put payments on the back end of your loan if you ask them to. They will forgive, certain things if you ask them to. But if you don't ask, you're never going to get it. Another thing is if you have a home that was once worth $1 million or $5 million, and now it's worth $1 million because it's a piece of dirt with ashes on it, go down to the LA County property tax assessor immediately. You can apply to get your property tax reduced immediately. So instead of paying $50,000 a year on a $5 million property, you can pay $10,000 a year on a $1 million property. Those two things alone saved my budget immensely. All I can tell you is at the end of the day, it was a rough process. Emotions aside, don't give up. When you go to hire a contractor, make sure they've got insurance, get copies of it, call the insurance company, make sure it's for real. Check out their insurance, check out their contractor's license online. Whenever you're going to go spend $1 on an architect, an engineer, or somebody who's going to do some kind of $10,000, $20,000 job for you on your property in just the permit process, or even when it comes to redoing your kitchen, get 3 bids. Make sure the price is right, and make sure it's just for real. Do not argue with your spouse, one way or the other, on the color of the tile. Be decisive. These things, I've seen projects being held up for months at a time because they just can't agree on what color to go with. It can kill you. My name is Nicholas Hale. I'm a financial advisor. I'm here to give anyone a second opinion on what their financial situation is in this predicament. Whatever your costs are, whatever you've estimated them to be, whatever your timeline is, double it, and then you might be in the ballpark. Do you have enough money to get through this and rebuild the house? As Jennifer said, it will be worth more. Do you have the stomach for this? I pray that you do. And if you don't, look at other avenues immediately. Time is money, and it will save you if you act now.